Even in spite of that brutal loss to the Buffalo Bills, head coach Robert Saleh still believes his team can make the playoffs, and Mike White and Quennin Williams are feeling much better. Let's talk about it.
We're going to see these guys again, so
What makes you say that?
I just think we are.
Welcome aboard here to the Sports Talk Nation. Michael Cohen here with you. Again, the Jets, as we all saw yesterday, losing another brutal football game, another close football game, this time to the Buffalo Bills by a score of 20-12. They have now lost 3 of their last 4, and all 3 of those losses painful in every which way. Painful because the opportunity to do something big, the opportunity to win those games was right in front of them in each case. Of course, you start off with the Patriots game, the infamous Zach Wilson game where he loses his starting job as the offense was completely putrid, and the Jets do not score a single touchdown in that game, and they lose 10-3. Of course, the Vikings games last week with the dropped touchdown pass that would have been for Braxton Berrios, and then yesterday, a game where the Jets hung around Buffalo really all day, and were not for a number of things. The offsides penalty by C.J. Mosley, where he dove over the pile on a 4th and short, gave the Buffalo Bills new life and led to their first touchdown of the game. Were it not for the Michael Carter fumble, of course, that killed the Jets' drive in the fourth quarter when they were down 20-9, looking poised to possibly go in for a touchdown, maybe on that drive to get back really firmly back in the football game with a lot of time left. Those are just some of the big mistakes, and of course the big story being the health of 2 of the Jets' most important players coming right at this point in time. Quarterback Mike White and Quentin Williams both having to, well, of course, Williams leaving the ball game, didn't come back with the calf injury, and the White game knocked out twice on hits that, when they happened, I mean, yes, everyone thought the same thing, that those were illegal hits, and still somehow found the intestinal fortitude to go back out there in spite of whatever injury he was suffering and the pain that he was feeling, to go back out there twice and try to lead a comeback for this football team. That won over the locker room even more last night, as you saw basically every player when they were asked, whether it be Dwayne Brown or Michael Carter or Garrett Wilson or even Connor McGovern, all of them saying the same thing, that Mike White is a warrior and that they love playing with this guy. So to me, and I think I made it pretty obvious, and I love the fact that Saleh, even with the injury, because there were a lot of questions last night. Would Mike White, if he were not healthy, what would they do? Would the Jets go back to Zach Wilson? And, of course, you have a lot of the Zach Wilson truthers out there who say, well, the Jets went 1-2 in these 3 games with Mike White. Let's go back to Zach Wilson. Not the case. Saleh puts it to bed right away. He says that Mike White is going to be his starter going into next week if he's healthy, and all indications is that he has passed all protocol, that he's passed as far as the tests were concerned, that he went to after going to the hospital last night after the game. Looks like he's good to go, and he's going to prepare to play this game against the Detroit Lions on Sunday. So this team now is firmly behind Mike White. And you would have to think, unless another injury happens, or if it's poor play, whatever, he is going to be the quarterback for this team for the rest of the season and perhaps into the playoffs. And I know there is a frustration for a lot of Jet fans right now because this team, for whatever reason, can't seem to finish drives off. They can't seem to finish drives and score touchdowns in big moments. Another play yesterday in the Buffalo game where Braxton Berrios had a ball in his hands, and again it popped in and out of his hands near the end zone. That could have been a Jets touchdown. There are a lot of main reasons why this team is struggling right now offensively. The least of right now is the quarterback, who has been playing pretty well. So I think a lot of this is on the offensive coordinator. I really do. You look at the stats in this game. 44 passes from Mike White, 47 dropbacks in this game. He was sacked 3 times. He was hit 7 times. He was pressured 20 times. The Jets only ran the football as a team in this game 22 times. 22. Now, I understand that they were down 1.17-7, but for a majority of this game, it was tight. It was scoreless. And in the first half alone, when it was scoreless, the Jets only ran the football 10 times. That's it. 10 times. And they're running the football well when they do run it. Bam Knight has been incredible. He had 71 yards and 17 carries. Why aren't the Jets? Why isn't Mike LaFleur running the damn ball a little more to take pressure off of this quarterback who was getting lit up by this Buffalo defense? Lit up. The only time they ran the football, it seemed like it was more of a change of pace play because they were so fixated on throwing the football as much as they possibly could. Even early in the game, it made no sense. So if the Jets are going to get back on track, they really got to start focusing around the ball. I know that Breece Hall's out for the season. I know the Jets have issues in the offensive line as far as health is concerned. We've been dealing with that all year since August. But there still is no excuse when you have the offensive line, which has done, the patchwork offensive line that is, which has done a fairly good job all year as far as opening up lanes. And you've had different running backs, whether it be Bam Knight, whether it be Breece Hall, whether it be Michael Carter, who have done well running the football. Run the damn ball a little more. Take some pressure off your quarterback. Set up the pass play. Set up the play action. Keep the opposing defense honest so that it creates more opportunities downfield for guys like Garrett Wilson and Elijah Moore. Because right now, Mike White is absolutely killing it as far as finding guys. He is slinging it when he needs to, and he's accurate, and he hits them guys right on the numbers in big plays and big spots. So, run the ball to set up the pass, to set up the big play. That's what the Jets, for whatever reason, especially over the last 2 weeks here against Buffalo, Minnesota, have really gotten away from, and they need to get back to it. And they need to get back to it big time for the rest of the season with 4 games left, 4 big games left in this season. So that's my biggest gripe. That's my biggest gripe of anything from what I've seen here from the play calling of Mike LaFleur and this Jets offense and the execution of this offense so far. Of course, the drop passes don't help. That, in and of itself, is a killer to begin with, and the penalties and the mistakes. And that's really what's been killing the Jets. Mistakes, penalties, drop passes, bad play calling. It's been those kind of things that have hurt the Jets in these games that they've lost lately. And if they had just cleaned it up, if they just cleaned it up a little bit, they could have won yesterday against Buffalo. They could have won the week before against Minnesota. Heck, if Mike White plays against New England a few weeks ago, maybe the Jets score a touchdown. We don't have a kick return for a touchdown for the Patriots. So here they are now at 7-6, and right now clinging to either being in or out of the playoffs. Now, another big part of this for the Jets is going to be not just as far as on the other side of the ball, of course, is Quennin Williams, who left the game in the second quarter with a calf injury and didn't return. And it was obvious that at times that his presence was missed because there was no real push up front on the pass rush against Josh Allen, who was able to run around and do whatever he wanted for the most part for the duration of the game. Right now it says here, according to Brian Costello, is that according to Saleh, they're hopeful that Corey Davis, wide receiver concussion, is back on Sunday and calls Quennin Williams calf injury 50-50 for Sunday. Basically day to day. Hopefully, and that's actually good news because it was a scary-looking injury, non-contact injury for Quentin Williams. Hopefully he is good to go and can play on Sunday against a Detroit Lions team that is clicking on all cylinders. The Jets need Quentin Williams badly. He has been, right up there with, guys like Sauce Gardner and C.J. Mosley. He has been, aside from those guys, Quentin Williams has been the Jets' best defensive player. He has been the key to the success of that defense, and they need him badly here down the stretch. So that's what sets us up here, folks, for the final month of the year, the last 4 weeks. And Robert Saleh going out there out of his way to say he thinks that this team can be a playoff team and will be back in Buffalo. More than that in just a moment. But with these 4 games, the Jets got to balance out their offense a little more, run the football more, give Mike White a better chance, protect him more, give him a chance to not get killed back there by these opposing defenses who are bringing the house now. That's 2 straight games where he's gotten nailed by opposing defense. And if they got to find a way to finish these drives, they got to find a way to continue to put pressure on these opposing quarterbacks because they're going to see very, very different but also very unique quarterbacks for the rest of the season, of course, with Jared Goff, who's been playing well lately, Trevor Lawrence, who's been playing much better lately. Then you have Geno Smith. Well, we all know about Geno, but he's been playing, has had a renaissance year this year. And, of course, Tua Tagovailoa, who's very unpredictable. So It's not going to be easy. And just to be honest, because right now the Jets are 7-6, they right now trail the Chargers. There's the graphic there. Trail the Chargers by percentage points for the seventh seed. It's going to come down. I think it's going to come down to Miami, the Chargers, and the Jets. Those three teams, only two of them are going to make the playoffs. Only two. The Jets, on the outside, have to get the 10 wins. They have to find a way, you would think, unless things get crazy with the Chargers and even the Patriots are still in the mix, and in the Dolphins, if those teams start losing a bunch of games, they have to get the 10 wins. That's the easiest thing I could say. The most guaranteed way to get yourself in is just win out, win all 4 games, get to 11-6, and you're in. But they have to get to 10 wins to the New York Jets, get some help, and that's the only way they can get in. It's going to be tough. It's going to be tough. But this team has a lot of talent, and they have the ability to get there and to finish this off. We'll see if they can. So now let's go to Saleh's comments about getting to the playoffs. He's echoing Rex Ryan, folks. Remember in 2010 when the Jets got killed on a Monday night up in Foxborough 45-3, and Rex Ryan said, we're going to bury the football right here at basically in the locker room, and we're going to come back here in the playoffs. A lot of people probably didn't believe Rex at that time because that loss was so bad, and it did cost the Jets a shot at the division title. And a lot of people thought, well, maybe the Jets are going to fade out of the playoff picture now. They did not. They finished 11-5. They got into the playoffs. They went back to Indianapolis, the team that beat them the year before in the AFC Championship game. They beat them by 1 point with a field goal, and then, as we all know, went back to New England the next week in the divisional round and won that game fairly convincingly. I know the score was like 28-21, but it really was never that close. It was never that close. And it's considered one of the best wins in the history of that franchise. So, is history going to repeat itself for the Jets? We're going to have to wait and see. But Robert Saleh pulling one out of the Rex Ryan playbook, basically saying we're going to bury the football and we're going to come back, saying we're going to see these guys again. We will see if he is indeed Nostradamus and if this team can again rally around its head coach, if they can rally, obviously, around their quarterback, if they can really rally around the moment right now and get themselves into some serious, big-time serious, mid to now late January football. We're going to find out very, very soon. I really do think that they can do it. I think they can get to the playoffs. And I will not be shocked if they do go back to Buffalo in the playoffs. Whether they beat them or not remains to be seen, because Buffalo is, as we have been saying, really all year, they're a favorite to go to the Super Bowl, although they're probably very flawed compared to, let's say, Kansas City or Cincinnati right now. I think the Jets have a very good shot at getting this job done. Like and subscribe. We'll talk to you next time.